In all my years of watching NBA basketball, I've never seen this level of depth of young, skilled talent in the league, and so I thought it'd be a very fun idea to rank the top 25 players under 25. Now, this is just my opinion, and it's based on how good I think they will be, not how good they are right now or what their potential or ceiling could be. It's just how good I think that they will be. So if you have a problem with where your favorite player is ranked or he didn't make the list, debate it down the bottom, but don't get angry at me because it's just my opinion and I'm a genius, so you're probably wrong. Alright, let's get this underway. Number 25 is the Rockets' young star, Jalen Green. This is a very, very electric scorer, very, very athletic player. Can he improve his defense to the level that he can lead a team to a playoff run? I'm not sure yet. You're not sure yet. We'll find out. Jalen Green, number 25. Number 24 is Jabari Smith Jr. And there won't be a lot of rookies coming out of this draft class in this list just because we haven't seen them play at the NBA level. But Jabari Smith is a freak. He's 19. He has incredible two-way potential, really solid defender, really good shooter. He needs to work on his shot creation a little bit, but he's proven that he can score on all three levels. And if he can carry that to the next level, he could be a very, very decent player in the next few years. So watch out for Jabari Smith Jr. I know he hasn't had the best summer league, but I mean, like, come on, that's just summer league. His defense is outstanding, and if you guys have seen him in college, you know this guy's going to be a freak of nature at the next level. Number 23 is Jaden Ivey, and I'm sure most of you people watching this video know about this 20-year-old stud right now, but for those who didn't really watch Purdue in the NCAA last year, he's got Morant-like athleticism, incredibly quick player. He needs to become a bit more of a consistent shooter, but he's shown that he can hit the three ball at a high rate. He also just needs to learn a bit more body control because he has such incredible athletic tools and gifts and speed, but he just needs to be able to control his speed, learn when to slow down, know when to finish, and how to control his body. When he gets that Morant-like body control, this is going to be a very, very scary player. I'd also like to see his playmaking go up a level, but if he works on those things, the sky's the limit for this young guy. So Jaden Ivey, number 23. Number 22 is Buff Bane. And where the hell did this guy come from last season? After not getting that many minutes in his rookie season, Desmond Bane exploded onto the scene last year, setting the record for most threes in Grizzlies franchise history. Incredible efficiency. Was really playing really, really well when Morant was out last year. Got a bit injured in the playoffs, so didn't play to his peak potential that we saw in the season, but he's a very, very good player, and I can see him at his peak being a 50, 40, 90 guy with really good defense and a very solid starter. So number 22, Desmond Bane. Number 21 is Tyrese Maxey, and I know a lot of Sixer fans have been knowing about this guy for a very long time, but last season, he really took his game up another level. He outplayed James Harden in a lot of games when James came over. If you don't really know about Tyrese Maxey, he's super, super quick, great transition player, very good shooter when he wants to. Like, he's had very good streaks. He just needs to be a bit more confident and shoot at high volume sometimes because he can be a little bit passive playing with James Harden and Joel Embiid. But when he's been asked, he's stepped up and then some. If he can continue to improve his defense and become a volume scorer, I can see him moving up this list very quickly. Number 20 is Jordan Poole. And a lot of Warriors fans knew about this guy, but a lot of people didn't coming through the last season because he played a lot in the G League, and people don't really pay attention to the G League. But for those who did, they knew how good this player was, and he was a hidden gem. I drafted him with my last pick in last year's draft, and he really, really helped me throughout the fantasy season. The 23-year-old has an incredibly quick first step, and that's his best weapon. If you watch his highlights, his first step, he can get around anyone. He's literally a walking bucket when he wants to be. Now, the question I have is, can he be an all-star level player, a number one option on a team, or will he peak out as like a Jamal Crawford, Jordan Clarkson, six-man of the year type player? That's yet to be seen, but he's got so much good potential, so much quickness, and playing behind someone like Steph Curry and for a team like the Warriors, you can see him shooting up this list easily. Number 19 is Paolo BANCHERO, and the Italian was the number one pick in the draft obviously this year, and it came to a surprise to a lot of people. Duke had a lot of very good players on their team last season, so he wasn't as hyped up as someone like Chet or Jabari Smith coming into the draft, but the 19-year-old is an incredible 3-level scorer, and he has the size and strength to be really good on the next level. Biggest question mark is, can he improve on defense? And he got drafted to the Magic, and I mean, besides the Dwight Howards, do they really have that great of a track record with drafting? That's yet to be seen. Can they develop him into the player that he needs to be? We'll see. But number 19, Paolo BANCHERO. Number 18 is Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, this guy last year had a very sneaky good season. His first few years in the league were a bit challenging because he was always injury prone, and when he was on the court, he'd get into foul trouble very easily. But those who watched the Grizzlies last season know he's become a very, very good shot blocker, very good steals, very decent three-point shooter. Although his shot's a little bit weird, it goes in, it's very wet. He's a great ball handler, great shot creation in the paint. He just needs to be a bit more consistent, because in the playoffs, his offense wasn't that great a lot of the time. He forced a lot of bad shots in the paint that he could usually make but didn't. But if he can stay healthy and out of foul trouble and take his game up a level in the playoffs, I think Jaren Jackson can be a very, very good player. Number 17 is Bam Adebayo, and this is kind of cheating because Bam actually turned 25 a few days ago, but it's a few days ago, so I'm not going to take him off the list because of that. He's a very solid two-way player, as many people know. Very, very formidable center. The only reason he's not higher on this list is because he is inconsistent offensively. He'll have games where he's really good and have games where he's either really passive or just not on. And that really showed in the playoffs. If he had a more consistent offensive game, I think the Heat, maybe under Jimmy Butler's heroic play, could have maybe even beat the Boston Celtics. So Bam Adebayo needs to become a more consistent player and move up this list. At the moment, number 17 is very, very good. Number 16 is Jarrett Allen. This 24-year-old freak of nature is an incredible defender, shot blocker, you know it. I see him as being like a Rudy Gobert level player in the future. Maybe he won't win 4 Defensive Player of the Years like Gobert did, but he'll be a very, very solid defender. Playing on a team with Garland and Mobley, he's probably not going to have to develop his offensive game, so that could be a problem and a limitation to his ceiling. But as a rebounder, as a defender, he's a very, very, very good player. And I got Jarrett Allen at 16. Number 15 is DeAndre Ayton. The 23-year-old just absolutely secured the bag from the Phoenix Suns. This is not because the Phoenix Suns actually want to keep DeAndre Ayton, by the way. This is so they don't lose him for nothing. He got drafted number 1 overall. They're not just going to let him walk. The mistake that Phoenix made is they should have extended him last year, because now they have to pay him way, way more. They didn't think that someone like the Pacers would offer him that much money. So he'll probably get traded to the Pacers or another team next year. But Phoenix didn't want to lose him for nothing, and now Phoenix is in the cap. Ayton's a very good player, very athletic, great at defense. He has also improved his shooting and shot creation, as we saw in the playoffs. But he's not a great ball handler, doesn't really have the court vision to pass, and he has a very limited post game. And so in today's NBA, where there's so many skilled big men like Embiid, Jokic, you name it, I can't move him further up the list than 15. Number 14 is CADE Cunningham. The 20-year-old former number 1 overall pick has great size for a point guard, and he's got a very good combo guard ability where he can play the point, he can play off ball as a shooting guard with Jaden and Ivey, and they could develop into a very, very solid backcourt. I really like CADE Cunningham. He doesn't really jump out to you as like a super skilled athletic player, but he has the intangibles to be a very, very solid all-star level player in the future. And I'm just so high on Detroit's future right now. Him playing with Ivey, Jalen in the draft. Come on. CADE Cunningham's going to be a very good player for a long time in this league. Number 13, Lamelo Ball. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one because, trust me, from social media arguments, I know that Lamelo Ball has a cult fan base, and there are probably a lot of them watching this video that's going to hate me for this. But I got Lamelo at 13. It's probably too low for him. A lot of people say I don't think so. He's not the most efficient player, and he does struggle in the half court at times. Talent is undeniable. He's a very, very good transition player. He shot incredible from the three-point line, shot very well from the free throw line. That improved dramatically from his rookie to sophomore year. Very, very good player. Does he like being a celebrity, though, more than he likes basketball? A lot of people see the highlight plays for LaMelo and project him to be a really good player. I just don't see the projection myself. I don't think he's going to be much better in the future than he actually is at the moment. So I cannot put him higher than other people on this list, really. I think that there are much better players, young players than him. He's still a very, very good player, will be a very, very good player, but he's a number 13 for me. I think he's slightly overrated at the moment. Number 12 is Scottie Barnes. A lot of people last year thought that OG Anunoby would be the player on the Raptors to take the big leap and break out last season, but because of injuries, that wasn't really meant to be. But Scottie Barnes really, really stepped up last season for the Raptors, and it showed in his rookie year, won Rookie of the Year. And he's just a great two-way player. Not much more to say about Scottie. He has room to improve on both ends, and he's already super solid. Number 12, Scottie Barnes. Number 11, we've got Evan Mobley, and this guy is just built like a dominant basketball player. Really good defensive ability, has a very good offensive game that keeps improving as he gets more and more comfortable in the league. You can just tell he's going to translate to a solid player. Reminds me a little bit of a young Kevin Garnett, actually. And as a young player playing on a team as good as the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's going to develop very quickly and become a very dominant player in the next few years. At number 10, I've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder. You know, SCA is just a very, very, very good offensive player. He's a very, very good guard. The problem with SGA is that, unfortunately, he's been on 2 rebuilding teams, drafted to the Clippers, traded for Paul George, and now on the Thunder, another rebuilding team. And why is that a problem? Well, they have no motivation when you're on a tanking team to play your players. SGA is not going to play every game of the season. He's not going to jump out in the stats because, you know, they're trying to tank for Chet Holmgren or whoever else. So put SGA on a solid team, watch him blossom. He's at number 10 for now. Number 9 is Darius Garland, man. And a lot of people thought he was going to break out last season, myself included, but we didn't think it was going to be to this level. We saw flashes in his sophomore year about how good he could be. He had some really good games. Steph Curry kept raving about how good he actually is before his breakout season, so that's how a lot of us knew, okay, this guy's the real deal. But look, he's an incredible passer, very, very high IQ knowledge of the game, very skilled scorer on all 3 levels. If he just continues to improve his efficiency in shooting, he's going to be an incredibly dominant player at the guard position. Number 8 is Tyrese Haliburton, and I cannot tell you guys how high I am on this player. He could be even higher on this list later on, and I think he will shoot up the list eventually. Yes, I got Lamelo 13 and Tyrese 8. Why? Tyrese is an absolute 3-level scorer. He really expanded his mid-range last year. Great 3-point shooter. He's a decent finisher. He could probably take more contact. He likes to avoid contact with the rim a little bit, but he's great at that. He's also a very good half-court player in the pick and roll and in transition. He has an extremely high IQ, is a great game manager, and is just great at his body control as well. And at such a young age, he's only going to get better. Having these foundations at such a young age is amazing. If we were to redraft the 2020 NBA draft, I believe Anthony Edwards would go first, but I think Tyrese Haliburton would go second. If you were to inject him onto any contending team, I think they could win a championship. He's that good of a player, and he's a winning kind of player in the league. Look for Tyrese Haliburton to break out next year. And at number 7, I've got his peer in the 2020 draft, Anthony Edwards. Not much to say about Anthony. He's got ridiculous amount of confidence if you've ever seen his interviews or heard him talk. Incredibly confident player, incredible scorer. He's got like a Morant-like athleticism, but he's also got great size and durability. So that's going to really take him far in his career. He's an underrated defender. If he can continue to get even better and make an all-defensive level team, he could be one of the best two-way players in the NBA very, very quickly. At number 6, I've got Zion Williamson. I mean, come on. Zion could easily be top 3 on this list if he actually played. He had one of the best sophomore seasons of all time, but he needs to stay healthy. Does he have the longevity? I mean, look, with his body and athleticism, we've never seen anyone like Zion in history. He's a very big anomaly. So we actually don't know if he can be a longevity type player yet. But when he's on the court, the talent is undeniable. How good can he be? We're not sure. Zion at number 6. Please come back and please play for the Pelicans next year because they have such a talented team right now, and adding a Zion could actually make them a top 3 team in the West. Number 5 is Trae Young. You know about Trae Young. Amazing shooter, ridiculous handles, very, very, very quick, great feel for the game. A lot of people compare him to Steph Curry. I kind of like the comparison. However, Curry is very, very good on the ball and off the ball. Trae Young is a very high volume player. He hasn't been able to play off the ball as of yet. But trading for DeJounte Murray, this might be the tool, the big thing that can turn Trae Young into a really good off-ball player as well. He is a defensive liability. He needs to improve that. But if he can improve his off-ball ability and improve his defense to the point where he's not a liability, Trae Young, superstar potential, man. At number 4, I've actually got Brandon Ingram. He is one of the most underrated players in the league since becoming an All-Star in 2019. A lot of people overlook him because the Pelicans have been such a bad team, and he usually gets outshined by having Zion on his team. But make no mistake, Brandon Ingram is one of the most ridiculously skilled, best offensive players in the entire league. He's a very underrated defender as well, great length. And if you saw him in the playoffs last year in the play-in, nobody could stop him. They were sending double teams to this dude. They were trying everything, and he was getting 30 points, 30-point games. Adding CJ McCollum to that Pelicans team really opened up the floor for Brandon Ingram to operate. Adding Zion back, adding a Dyson Daniels to this team. Look for Brandon Ingram to actually break out next season. The reason he hasn't yet is because his stats haven't really translated to all-star numbers, even though they actually kind of have, just not many people look. But they haven't been all-NBA crazy numbers. But he's kind of like a Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi doesn't really try that hard in the regular season, but once it's playoff time, you can't stop that guy. He's going to absolutely dominate you. I see Brandon Ingram being exactly like that. Brandon Ingram at number 4, man. You guys got to pay him his respect. At number 3, I got Jason Tatum. You know Jason Tatum. Incredible two-way player. Really, really dominant offensively. He can have games where he scores 40, 50 points. He can be one of the best defenders on the floor when he wants to be. The only reason he's a number 3 and not number 2 or 1 is because he sometimes takes unnecessarily tough shots, especially in the playoffs, especially at the three-point line. And he's not as consistent as he needs to be for the Celtics to actually win a championship. One of the biggest problems was his consistency in the playoffs. He'd have games where he'd absolutely dominate and then games where he would just completely shut down. If he improves his consistency, he'll be an actual superstar and the Celtics win a championship very soon. Jason Tatum, number 3. Come on. At number 2, I've got Ja Morant. I know, I've got Ja Morant over Tatum, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Trae Young. What am I doing? Come on, man. You guys have seen Ja Morant play. This is what prime Derrick Rose would have been like if he stayed healthy. He's a decent three-point shooter, but he does need to take that to the next level, be a bit more consistent from the 3. But this guy can take over games. We saw it in the playoffs multiple times. When he played the Warriors, he had that stretch where he scored, I forgot, like the last 12 to 15 points straight for the Grizzlies to come back and win that game. Highlight machine. He makes Sports Planet Top 10, does the most ridiculous plays that you've never seen before. Incredible body control, slashing ability, floater game, you name it. Great at passer. Defense needs to improve, but he's on a team like the Grizzlies, so it's really not that exposable. Ja Morant at number 2. He's an incredible, incredible player. And number 1 should be no surprise to anyone at all. I got Luka DOncic, man. For those who know me, I'm a huge Kawhi Leonard fan. So I watched the playoffs in 2020, 2021, where the Clippers versus Mavericks. I watched every game of both series. Dude, this Luka guy is a cheat code. He's a joke. He hits shots that just make your jaw absolutely drop. He's incredible size, IQ, shot creation ability for his position. Like, he's such a dominant player. He can get his bucket at any part of the court. He can literally read the defense, get you off your shoes, put you in the position you want you to. The only problem with Luka is he's kind of like LeBron, where he needs specific players to be successful. What I mean by that is like 3-and-D wings, really good shooters. It's going to be hard to pair another superstar with him, just because it's like the LeBron situation where you very much need specific players to play to your max strengths. But Luka DOncic, man, number 1. He's going to be MVP soon. He's going to be a champion soon. He also carried Slovenia to a Final Four game in the Olympics, almost won them their first medal. This dude is just outstanding. Legend player. Top 10 player maybe in the future. Who knows? We'll see. And that's the end of my list. Do you agree or are you wrong? What would you do differently? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys soon. Take it easy. Ciao. Goodbye.